Hello. I thought I would just come on and talk about germs, as it's that time of year of, the winter months, staying indoors, being around lots of other people, children are in school, in classrooms. We tend to stay in more, we're not out so much in the fresh air, and germs are spread so much more easily. So for some adults, obviously you might just get a little bit of a sniffly cold and think that you're okay to carry on as normal, which of course you are okay to carry on as normal. But what I want to say is, if a friend of yours or a family member has just had a baby and you have a cold, please be mindful to not go and give them that cold. You may be just fine with it. And each time we pass colds on, the same for ourselves, we might have a cold and it be quite mild, and then you get another cold and you can be in bed. It floors you sometimes. So you never know quite how your body's going to receive it. So for a mother that's just had a baby, obviously she's recovering from the birth, the pregnancy. The last thing she needs is a cold. And if she's breastfeeding, a cold is enough to make you so low that it actually affects your milk supply. So then that makes it more difficult when you've got a brand new baby. And the other thing is that if the baby gets it, the baby has a snuffly nose and can't, really struggles to breastfeed, because how do they suck and swallow with a blocked nose? So yeah, please just be mindful of not going to people's houses when you know that you have a cold and give it to a young family with a baby. And even worse, if someone's just had a cesarean, can you imagine sneezing when you're in pain, when you're recovering from major surgery? So that's the last thing a new mother and baby needs. The other thing is, there are lots of viruses going around as well. So if you've been in contact with children that have had hand, foot and mouth, or chicken pox, or particularly if you've got a cold sore as well, this goes for parents as well. If you've got a tingle on your lips and you think there's any sign of a cold sore, then you really need to don't kiss your baby. And that's an awful thing to have to say. I've had to say it to parents in the past, that actually you can't kiss your baby right now because you've got a herpes virus on your mouth. You can't spread that. So just be very mindful. That's what I've come to say. Please be mindful of not giving your germs to a family with a young baby. Even hand, foot and mouth, which some people seem to think is quite a mild, again, it can be mild, little blisters on the hands, foot and mouth, and don't affect the child too much. Another child can have it and have huge blisters and sores like cankers on their tongue, and they can't eat and end up in hospital with dehydration. So these things can be mild, but they also affect others really quite severely. The elderly and the young can be affected quite badly by hand, foot and mouth. It makes the mouth very, very sore. And if you've got a sore mouth and you can't drink, then you become dehydrated. Babies are hospitalized from dehydration. Okay, I think I've got my point across. Just please don't spread your germs to a family with young babies. And I'm really particular about it, because I work with families with babies. So if I am meeting a friend or going to meet my family and I arrive and they've had a cold or tell me they've had a cold, I don't go in the house. I'm like, you didn't tell me. That's how seriously I take it. I'll be cross that they didn't tell me that they had a cold. Because one, I work night shifts and I don't want to have a cold. That's really hard for me to do if I'm not well. And two, I can't go into a family's house. I can't go into their household. They pay me privately to take care of them and look after them and give them a cold. So yeah, please don't spread germs. Bye for now.